Here we go, indeed. Shiv in the comments there. Thanks for joining us, my good man. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocate, everybody. I hope you're all well. 3 points on the board tonight, but a very frustrating one, I think. Didn't really get into our stride at all, if we have one at the moment. Very, very slow pace, very poor in transition. Some real frustrations, I think, about particular players, I think, and just no sort of fight. Listen, I don't want to be negative. I want everyone to enjoy the show, and we'll try and take the positives as we can and see fit. But it was frustrating. Stu, Freddie, Hammer, thank you so much, boys, for giving me your time to come on the show tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Stu, over to you first, my good man.
Well, I would start off with a win is a win. So there you go. 3 points is 3 points. Would I be happy trudging back to the dressing room if I'd played anywhere near as bad as most of our team? No. Players come out, don't they, in social media today? Oh, we've got to really look at ourselves and all this. Well, where are you looking? Because you ain't looking in the mirror. You ain't looking at your mates. You're not looking over the shoulder. You're not talking to anyone. You're shoving your head up your arse, because the problem you've got with these players is they're fucking lazy. And, Ten Hag can jump up and down and he can moan as much as he likes. But he needs to get all these players together and tell them to stop crying like babies every time he outs them. He's outing them for the simple reason you're not performing. You don't feel like Manchester United is worthy of your presence. You seem to be thinking that you're bigger than Manchester United. And look, the ins and outs of football, they're not complex at all. People try and make them complicated. They overcomplicate them. You read X amount of threads on Twitter about, oh, well, look at his movement here, look at his movement there. It's all bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just reading it from some fucking website. When you actually watch the game of football and you kind of put yourself on that pitch, the frustration that would grow inside you is just insurmountable. And there's too many occasions today where you can actually look at the game and look at where simplicity and common sense could have taken over, but absolutely dumbness did take over, just blind stubbornness of particular players. And when we did actually play the sweet taste of football, which was the Evans to Bruno, yes, it looked great, but it's too short. There's a couple of things also that were annoying me about Burnley. You got their keeper Trafford thinking he's all the fucking big, and why don't you been absolutely smashing into him? Get a fucking yellow card, because if you take Trafford out when he's 20 yards outside his area, he ain't going to do it again. He's not going to do it again, because he'll see Hoyland coming and he'll start thinking, well, what shall I do? There's just no. There was no fight in us. There was no aggression in us. There's an incident at the end of the game when Hannibal had a bit of a set to with that fullback. Not one single player around him, to push the fullback away, get away from our mate. Not one single player was there. You bring Amrabat on and shove him at left back. I mean, for the love of God.
Well, I don't think he had too much of an option there. I'm really concerned about the left back position, and we'll cover that in a minute.
You go three at the back. You don't fuck about.
I do. Of course.
There of Amrabat's quality. You go three at the back, and you say, Amrabat, Casemiro, you mop up between left and right back. That's what you do. That's your role. You don't go and stick somebody at left back. By the way, on your Premier League debut, away to some mercenaries at Burnley. And I mean mercenaries because they'll just play and play and play. They'll hunt you down, they'll fucking shoot you to win a game of football. And this is what you do. And you don't do this. Now, I'm getting a bit exasperated with Ten Hag at the minute, and it is bothering me because you've got to back the manager at all costs, but he's making some baffling decisions at the minute which aren't kind of making sense. My psyche can't kind of grasp it really and go with it. So, look, all in all, we got the 3 points, so we'll take that. But Jesus Christ, man, we got some big problems, some real problems, and the bulk of the squad is the same as what it was last year. So God knows what's up with them. Seriously, he needs to get a new load of dummies and pacifiers and start dishing them out, because these babies, they don't deserve to wear the shirt, half of them. They really don't.
I can see that you're very frustrated today, Stu, and I understand it. You know, it's you are right, and it does make it difficult. We as fans, obviously, we've got a huge interest, and we get carried away, and I absolutely get your frustration, and totally on board with it. Freddie, welcome back, my good man. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, good to be back, Marc. Hope you and everyone else are well. Very flat. I think it was very underwhelming. Ultimately, it's our first away win and first clean sheet of the season. So hopefully, this is a springboard for better things to come. But it was just another flat performance, and I think we were very fortunate to play the team we did to play, Burnley, who haven't won a game this season. And I think everyone was saying it was a good time to play United. It's probably a good time to play Burnley equally, because if we played like that against any of the other 18 teams, we probably would have lost. We didn't create anything. Burnley had a better XG. There was one point they showed that they had 90% possession in the last 5-10 minutes, which is shocking. Players are just walking. There's no passion or fitness, which is concerning. And appreciate we've got a lot of injuries. There's a lot of gaps that are being filled at the moment. But the likes of Johnny Evans are coming in and they're doing a job. He could have had a goal and an assist in the first half. So
yeah, unfortunate that goal. We'll talk about that.
Very unfortunate. But there's senior players in the squad that aren't pulling their weight, and that's very concerning. And I agree with Stu, and I mentioned it after the Brighton game last week. There's a lot of question marks on Ten Hag at the moment. I appreciate there's a lot we can't control off the pitch issues, but there are things that we can control and things that the manager can control. And I don't think he's doing it right at the moment. I mean, there's no clear style of play. They're the words I used last week against Brighton.
That's right.
Each week we don't know how we're going to set up. We don't know who's going to play where. I think he threw Hannibal in today, which was good. I think he had a positive game.
He did.
Showed
keep him
energy.
In. I think keep him in.
Yeah,
I think keep Ericsson out for a little while. Keep him in. He showed a lot today, and I think he was one of the sort of standouts of the second half in particular.
Yes, I can see why I brought him in. He brought energy, and sometimes when things aren't going well for you, you need to go back to basics and just go back to the fundamentals. So he set the tone. He, good pressing from the front, but it's not enough. And Ten Hag's been said all week, and I think in his press conferences, that you need 11 or 10 players to do the running, the pressing, the defending from the front. If one or two players don't do it, the whole team fails. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. It's concerning. It really is concerning. I think that the goal and the assist from Evans today was absolutely brilliant. Ultimately, the 3 points is what we needed from the game. I think it was one of those games where we just needed the points, and whatever, the performance was secondary. But we do need to use this as a catalyst and a springboard now, because we're going to be playing harder teams in the coming weeks and months. And if we play like that, we're not going to win. So, fingers crossed we improve our performances. Fingers crossed the players get fit. It's good to see Amrabat get 3 minutes. Hopefully he'll on the next game. A few players coming back from injury. A bit worrying that Reguilon's gone off injured. Another injury,
concern,
a fourth fullback. So, it's going to be interesting to see how he copes with that. But, lots to build upon.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to build upon, and hopefully use this as a springboard, as you say. We've been saying this for a few games now, we need to see some changes. It's so difficult, isn't it, as a fan, to watch this sometimes, and hopefully they can obviously use this and move on. Hammer, great to have you with us as well, buddy. I hope you're well in the US of A. How are you feeling after that?
I mean, the boring thing is the issue, a lot of it, and I think Fred was saying that there's a lot of question marks, and there are, but I think that he also does have a little bit of a leash at the moment, only because of the injuries. You can't take away. And I think he said it himself, since he's been here, he hasn't been able to play the strongest 11 that he would have liked to. and that's kind of wild considering he's in his is now in his second season, all that, right? Like that's a shitty thing as a manager, right? When you're looking at what you have available and it's not your best. But with that being said, I do agree that he needs to handle what he has and work with what he has a little bit better. We can't be watching them make 2-3 subs at one time, and we're getting close to the 80th minute and we haven't made a sub yet, or in this case, our first sub was because somebody had an injury, right? So like that can't be the thing, especially when even as fans watching, we can see the game getting away from us because their legs are getting tired and people need to be rotated out. But he does still have the leash, and I think when the players come back, like Amrabat, like certain players who, are picking up injuries and injuries for some reason, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree with me, are taking longer than I would expect for people to come back to an extent. I know some people had, genuine like proper injuries, but there's some injuries where I feel like people are going out for weeks at a time when it could be just a couple weeks, and they're missing a lot more games than we would need. But yeah,
it's a possibility. I think it's more to do with the fact that we've had so many within a short space of time, so it probably makes it feel longer. It probably makes it feel more of an impact. Do you know what I mean? And it's
also
the
fact that they're self-sustained. They're not getting taken out by defenders or opposition defenders. They're just getting down on their own or in training. So there's obviously an underlying issue here, whether it was pre-season or I don't know.
Well, do you think the last season might be catching up with us a little bit? We were playing a game every 3.1 days. I think it was at the time, for a very long time. It was very well known to a lot of fans and rival fans that we were playing the most games. Do you think this is maybe catching up with us? Do you think that, Hammer, maybe?
To an extent, but I also, and this might be naive of me, and being somewhat, and I watch a lot of sports other than just football as well. And one of the things I always notice or take to notice is football players don't get a lot of time off, right? There's not a lot of gap between end of the season and coming back, whether it's preseason or whatever, and stuff starting back. But I do feel that I to an extent, I can't really take that from the last season. I know it's a relatively significant thing, but y'all should have been getting, if you like you as players know how much you were playing this whole offseason, however short it might have been, should have been you getting yourself healthy, should have been you getting yourself rest, should have been you getting yourself back and ready to go. So I get it. It can add up, but you're a professional athlete. You should get yourself ready in the offseason, especially if you've had a rough season.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, Hammer, because there's been a lot of on this at the moment. We played every possible game bar 3 last season. We got to all the finals apart from Europa, so we only missed the final and the semi-final. And given the World Cup in the middle of that as well, so there's no winter break from the majority of the players. And then pre-season, we've travelled across the States to Scotland, Ireland, everywhere.
Yeah,
I think we didn't do ourselves justice in pre-season. We could have kept it a lot more local. 1 or 2 less games. Maybe start a bit later. There's things you can do.
As well.
Yeah, I think that there are things you can do. I just don't think And in hindsight, it's easy to say it, but it seems to be that it's been handled appallingly, given it's all self-sustained.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think that there's a certain amount of moronicness that you've got to add to this as well. Because the individual as a player, it's up to you to manage your own health. It isn't just to the club. And if you're looking at your pre-season schedule and then you're looking at potential international call-ups, which a lot of these players did, you've then got to be smart in your own brain and go to your international manager. I'm not coming out for 2 friendlies. I'm not going to play 2 friendlies. Now, if that affects my international career, so be it. But I'm not going to play 2 friendlies. We had a tough season last season. We've gone pre-season, and you want me out for 2 meaningless friendlies. What is the point? But they won't do it because, and this is a problem with professional football.
Do you think that's on the players? Do you think that's on the players, or do you think that the thing is though, when you're contracted at a club, okay, if you're told to do something, you're gonna do it, right? So I feel that maybe it's really the responsibility of everyone involved.
No, but it is on the players, Mark, because these players, these posers, they're all about glory. They're all about glory. Oh, I've got 150 caps for my country. Well, how many of those are meaningful? How many of those could you have, maybe stayed away from and kept yourself injury free for your club? The one that actually pays your wages, and you go and get your international appearance fee, etc., etc., etc. This is the issue with these idiots, and they are absolute clowns. How many players went to a World Cup that were injured? In the England team, there was 3 players that were injured. We had it in the England women's team. They went injured. It happens all the time. We'll go injured. Oh, we'll get you back for the quarterfinals. And it's because the players are that dumb. They want the glory. They need the glory. They feed off the glory. They love it when the kids give them shin pads. They love when the kids, are asking them for autographs and all of this and all of that. But they don't give a fuck when they shut the door of their home. They don't give a flying fuck about you, me, or anyone else who walks through the stadium, who talks about football every day of their lives. They don't care. And nobody can tell me that they do, because they don't. And I've seen it with these players. I've interviewed tons of players, and I see it in their eyes. We're just a commodity, a way of them earning more and more and more and more and more money, and more money and more money. And that's what it's all about. When you strip that back, and when a club finally, it doesn't matter whether it's us, Real Madrid, anyone else, but when you strip back and a club finally turns around and says, you know what, Sancho, I'm doing you for gross misconduct. Get out. If you don't want to be here, go. Rip up your contract. But he's not going to rip up a 350 grand a week contract.
There does seem to be quite a lot of lack of accountability, doesn't there?
It's too much. It's too much. We had it under Solskjaer. We had it under Mourinho. We had it under Ranić. We had it under Van Gaal. Forget about the Fergie era, but we never had it before that, because there wasn't the amount of money that was in the game that is today. Jadon Sancho doesn't give a flying fuck. Wasn't he on international duty? Wasn't he off partying in New York? Wasn't he pictured in New York?
I did hear about this, but
when he should have been at Carrington training, when he should have been doing something to keep his career. They're not interested in it, and they really don't care. And then all they'll do a token gesture, phone up the agent, get my social media team to say, oh, we apologise for a bad performance, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Fuck that for a bad performance. I don't care. I don't care.
You're going to get us cut off, Stu. Careful.
Sorry. But tonight I'm fed up. I'm fed up with it. I was really pleased with the Bayern Munich game. I thought we turned the corner. Not that we scored 3 goals. Yes, we made mistakes. They were stupid mistakes that conceded goals. We were better.
We tried. We tried. We were quicker to the ball. We were trying to make a nuisance of us. I get it. Yeah, we did feel
today
positive, didn't we?
We don't care. So we've got the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, haven't we, or Wednesday or something like that?
Palace.
With Palace at home. Yeah. And then I think we've got a winnable game at the weekend. But
it's reminded me about that. I thought I had a week off.
No, it's got to me tonight. The attitude of the players, and I know Hele has said that Bruno got man of the match. I wouldn't have given anyone man of the match today for what.
Unfortunately, I get it. I get where you come from.
Sorry,
give one in, yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. If I was Bruno, I'd be embarrassed.
Well, he did give it over to Johnny Evans, I think, in the post-match thingy.
Well, if I was Johnny Evans, I'd be embarrassed to have it,
Well, he was good today, yeah. But I get it. I do get frustrating.
Anyway, I'll shut up now. Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. It's fine. I like to see the passion, mate. It's good. And sometimes we have to kind of voice our opinions and sort of show that sort of emotion, because that's what it means. It's important. Just looking at the injury list, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 25th of November. Luke Shaw, 22nd of October. Mainu, 7th of October. Malacia, late September. Well, a week. Maguire, 50%. Mason Mount, 50%. Raphael was obviously back. Amrabat, obviously back. And then, of course, you've got Ahmad and Jadon as well. No return date at all. The list is endless, isn't it? Let's pick up on Johnny Evans, actually. I saw a lot of crap, actually, before the game. Lots of people going into Johnny Evans and not giving him a chance at all. And I thought he was excellent today. It got the assist, wonderful header, very unfortunate. Defended very, very well, I thought. And him and Lindelof today, I thought were pretty good. I know they didn't have too much to deal with, but everything they had to, I thought they were pretty good. But Freddie, your thoughts on him today? Nice return for him. Obviously, haven't played since 2015. and really showed his true colours, didn't he?
Yeah, really, really good performance. Surprising. I think everyone was jaw was on the floor when they saw his name in the starting 11. But yeah, look, it's brilliant. It's amazing this season how the players who you think aren't going to perform, your Reguilons, your Evans, are the ones that are performing, and the ones who should be performing, the senior players, the ones who aren't. But look, that assist was absolutely superb. I think it was his left foot as well.
If it was Bruno or Kevin De Bruyne, they wouldn't shut up about it, would they?
No, absolutely brilliant. And he had to do it. I'll be honest with you. We have to go direct because the midfield's not good enough. We can't progress through the midfield. McTominay, Casemiro, a bit.
He had to go plan B, didn't he?
He had to go plan. You've got to go direct. Onana's not going direct because there's no movement up top. That for me, it was probably the only diagonal I saw, and it led to the goal. So if you haven't got a midfield who are progressing, and I'm hoping Amrabat's going to fill this void when he is fit, you have to go direct. So yeah, I think we should do more. Do more of that. Lindelof used to do it a lot last year. That diagonal to Rashford. So hopefully that's the start of more to come on that side. But yeah, very unlucky not to get a goal as well. More inconsistencies with VAR, with City, getting their blazing one. Won't go into it too much, but
no, of course. I do want to talk about it a little bit. I just want to get everyone's very quick viewpoint.
Yeah,
on
I'll
that.
touch on that. Yeah,
if I can come to Hammer first quickly, and then I'll bring you back in. Very unfortunate.
I promise I won't moan.
No, you're right. You moan as much as you like.
My whinging's done now. So.
Okay. I have lost my trail of thought now. But Hammer, if you want to talk to me about the potential goal that should have. Wow, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, a 6-1, half a dozen. Unfortunate, I think. Yeah. Someone was stood in his line, and I think it was made worse by the goalkeeper pushing the player out of his way because he maybe. I don't know, man. I just think, and as Freddie said, that was my trail of thought. City had exactly the same, and we talk about this every week, and we're not being hard done by. It's fucking annoying when there's no consistency.
Yeah, that's all my thing is on it. At this point, I'm not going to go crazy over it because it's again, once VR is involved, I'm not going to go crazy over it because the people making the decisions behind it don't have any type of consistency, whether that's their personal incompetence or whether that's not having the clearing of however the wording is written so they don't fully right. Whatever the reason is for the inconsistency, it's just ridiculous. And VAR is just becoming a waste of time. As part of the game. So, yeah, I just think I don't stress over it. It's a shame that we got it called against us. There's been a few calls going against us recently, and, it's becoming more and more frustrating. But once they say it goes to VAR, I try not to flip out whatever the decision is because whoever is running it and whoever's in charge, they clearly don't know what they're doing.
It's an interesting one for me because if you look at the position of both Højlund and the goalkeeper Trafford, Højlund was backing into Trafford and Trafford was trying to push him off. Now, further up the field, that's okay. That's just standard football wrestling. But when you can't do that to a goalkeeper, you can't touch a goalkeeper. When the push away really didn't matter. The issue that you have was when the initial corner came in for City and Ake took the header, Akanji, whoever it was about 10 or 15 yards, about 10 yards away from the opposing goalkeeper. There's your problem straight away. Whereas Højlund was backing in directly pretty much on the goal line to Trafford. I think it was Akanji, wasn't it? He was in the line of sight. Although he was in the line of sight on initial contact, and then he rushed towards, didn't he, the goalkeeper? He was too far away from the initial contact, whereas Højlund was pretty much on the line. And Johnny Evans, I believe, put it in 7 yards out. It was a wonderful header, by the way. It was a terrific header to put it down, to get the height to put it down. So that was my only thought on it. I was a bit frustrated at the time until I looked at it again and I could see why it's given. Unfortunately, it's obstruction of a goalkeeper, and I'm not necessarily. But again, John's right. Common sense should apply. It is technically, it is, and it was an offence anyway. On Trafford, But you would like to think, well, actually, without VAR, it probably stands. But as soon as it was called over, it was always going to be a bit of a problem for us, wasn't it? But look, I thought Evans, just touching on Evans, now I've got my rants out of the way. I thought he had a very solid game to a point, and you were always going to get just to a point with Johnny today. It's his first Premier League game for quite a while. And he was a little bit, when you've got the likes of Lindelof and you've got the likes of Evans, they're very sedate players. There's not a lot of grace to them, and they look awkward at times. And they were too far apart at times as well. They weren't close enough together at times. And then to pass him back with an, with an Arna and Evans, it's not really the great combination that you want. But where Johnny Evans really fits into any team, and this is where the fan base has really got to think about what they're saying before they start going in on players, is his organisational skills, his ability to communicate and direct players into the positions where they need to be.
He was screaming at Bruno a couple of occasions I saw today to get out, to push out.
He was directing people from the jump. He was directing Reguilon too. He was doing it all game.
Yeah. There are times where Johnny Evans, as a good centre half, doesn't even touch the ball, but his absolute influence on the game is due to his presence and his communication skills. And I think it made Onana actually in many ways quite calmer today. It gave Onana a calmer feel. I think Onana realised that Evans wasn't going to take any stupid risks with the football. Lindelof wouldn't take any stupid risks with it. I'm not saying, by the way, before anyone jumps on me, I'm not saying that Martinez does. I'm not saying Varane does. But you've got a weakness, not so much of Reguilon, because I think Freddie was right with Reguilon. I think Reguilon's been very, very steady. But with Dalot, you got this major problem with his positional play and his fluctuation of stupidness in his brain occasionally. So I tend to agree with Freddie and Hammer about Johnny Evans. Again, not man of the match material for me, nobody, but I can see that he had a good game.
I think Onana as well. You took the words out of my mouth. Actually, he was a lot calmer. I think the two of them complemented each other today.
They did.
So that probably helped, and probably the addition of McTominay next to Casemiro. I don't think he had that good a game, McTominay, in all honesty, but he is that defensive option ahead of Eriksen. So we had a bit more of a core in that is sort of our defensive third, which inevitably helps Evans. And let's be honest, Burnley's
you can say what you want about McTominay. He's a bit of a presence, isn't he, really? And you're right, sitting alongside Casemiro there, he's always kind of in your face and sort of getting stuck in. And, he might be wayward with passing or whatever else that everyone gets frustrated with. But he is a presence, and he certainly helped today, I think. So, sorry, buddy, carry on.
No, exactly that. And Burnley's attack's not great. So, it was always going to be a hit and run or a smash and grab, I think. So, lucky the chance fell to Bruno when it did.
Yeah. And just real quick on Evans, too, we had it in players like Mata and you could probably even say Matic. And I think you need it in all sports. So it's why I saw some people freak out about the Evans signing. But one of the things that we started and we've been talking about with this group of players is their mentality. Sometimes you just need a vet in the locker room like a Johnny Evans who's been around the block. And he's been around the block at Manchester United, even though he went on, and whatever. But once everybody's healthy, he's not going to be playing a lot of games. But you need, and I know that wasn't the purpose of bringing him in. I know people got injured, that's why we brought him in. But if you think about it, we don't have a lot of that in the locker room. Casemiro, maybe Varane. Bruno's not that he's a captain right now, but he's not that type of leader, right? You need an old head, as we would call it over here.
Yeah.
You need a few of those in the locker room, even if they're just going to ride the bench the whole season.
No, you do. You need somebody that you can rely on and look almost as a safety net. And I think actually, when Onana saw Evans as a safety net today, you'd actually see a much better version of Maguire, by the way, with pairing him up with Johnny Evans. that's going to rattle a few cages, that one. But you would see a much better version of Maguire because you've got somebody who can talk to him constantly. And so from that point of view, great. Just touching on Hannibal, by the way, I do, because I never got to answer that. I do think he was okay, but only okay in patches for me. I think, but again, let's just dial this right back to the original Garnacho, Kobe Mino before I saw Kobe Mino. Just a little bit rash at times. Youthful exuberance is the phrase, isn't it, for youngsters? He just needs to think a bit more when he's on the ball, when he's travelling with it. If you can't, if he's running into a blind alley, which Garnacho used to do, and he did today, just stop and drop it 2, 3, 4 yards. When he's got Amrabat alongside him, potentially he can do that. Casemiro can help him with that, but playing alongside. I know what you're saying about McTominay, by the way, Biggsy, but playing alongside him, I feel for Hannibal because he's like, oh, what do I do now? I'll just give it to you. Then I'm going to look at Jig because you're going to lose it. So
I was trying to be nice to you, but clearly you're on a nasty streak tonight, aren't you?
Look, I tonight, if I'm playing in that team, there's something you need to look at, and I don't know whether you guys picked up on it, but did you not see the relief on Casemiro's face when Fernandez scored?
Did you not see the hug?
He said something, didn't he? He said, yeah.
I can't.
It was absolute just relief.
Thank God you're on the pitch, he said.
Yeah, that's basically what he said.
Probably
to him.
Something like that.
Completely changed, and people pick up on stuff like that, and I'm picking up, and if something like Casemiro is thinking, it's like, fuck for that, because where on earth is it coming from? But for Casemiro, bless him, he's stepping out on the pitch, and he hasn't got his old mates alongside him, hasn't he? The crooner. He ain't got Modric alongside him. He hasn't even got Ericsson alongside him today.
Thing, right? Like that's why I brought it up.
He's got McTominay alongside him. He's got Hannibal, bless him. So there's a lot of things
anymore. I actually think that was his best game of the season. I think that was his best game of the season so far.
Who's that? Sorry,
Casemiro.
Yeah, probably was.
I actually, aside from the goal, I thought he was probably our best player. He's better than Bruno all round. I put a theory for last week to Marc and Hammer Stew after the Brighton game. I think that Amrabat's going to take that 6 role, and he's going to push Casemiro up.
I agree with
that?
Yeah, I think you might be right. Look, the Casemiro Ericsson partnership and Bruno partnership works really, really well when it works, But for that to work properly, you've got to have a fully functioning Rashford and a fully functioning. I don't want to say his name at the minute. He gets somebody else.
Right, someone on the right hand side.
Yeah, somebody on the right hand side. Then that works great because, as we've spoken about a million times, it enables Bruno to do what he does best. And that is circulate the pitch, and he does that best because he's got Ericsson and Casemiro. I think you'll see a more free Bruno if Amrabat comes in at 6. I agree with you, by the way. Casemiro pushes in 6 to 8, 6 to 8, 6 to 8.
Yep.
And then
he can do both jobs, can't he? We've seen that over the past season, and he was a 6 at least. So,
but what you've got a static 6 in Amrabat. Then you've got a Casemiro that does 6 to 8, 6 to 8, and then you've also got a Bruno that does 8 to 10. Okay, so what I mean by that is he might occupy a 10 position, but he'll slot in as an 8, and same with Casemiro. He'll start as an 8 and he'll slot in as a 6, but Amrabat will stay as a 6. That's what I mean.
He wants that technical player in that position. Yeah, that's why he was going for Frankie de Jong. He's brought on Arna in, the Martinez. He needs that sort of. That's the style he wants to play. Casemiro isn't that. I think he was shoehorned last year, and we sort of had to change the style. Obviously, everyone's going on about his legs this year, but I think he's going to do that. And I think Casemiro's best plays actually come in the attacking sort of element for us. I think he's our top scorer this season. But
Casemiro works very, very well because he's got a footballing brain. And that's what you need. So if you've got somebody who can be combative, cover the back 4, and allow Casemiro to have that kind of 8 role. And then you've got, as I say, Bruno, not even crossing with him because, Casemiro would never play up as a 10, but he will ghost in as an attacking midfielder on occasions and get the goals that he does. But also with Casemiro, because he operates with his head on the swivel pretty much all the time, he'll be able to also double cover, not a double pivot, but he'll double cover Amrabat when he needs to. So, and that's what I think Casemiro's best game is. He did that wonderfully well with the Krunic and Modric, but they allowed him to be able to do that because if he stepped forward, then Krunic would step into Casemiro's position and vice versa. You won't see it so much with Amrabat and Casemiro because Amrabat should hold the 6th position, should hold that middle area, that middle part of the pitch. And then Casemiro can start doing what he needs to do. So that'd be interesting. But once you get up to there, you still got the fucking Rashford issue of not crossing the football. And it's, for God's sake.
I don't know what's going on because every time I'm screaming past the ball, he shoots, and every time I say shoot,
it's
he
the
passes.
opposite every time, isn't it?
It's really poor.
I think he's getting into a funk again, and I think somebody needs to help him get out of it because we don't have enough attacking options for his ass to be in a funk again. But that's what it's looking like, and I agree with what Freddie said there. There were times in the game when I was looking at it, it was like, I don't even know what you're gonna do because you're doing the opposite of what you should do, and
he doesn't know what he's gonna do, does he, Hammer?
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not sure what his decisions are right
now. A lot of fans talk about, coach. I was listening to that idiot Durham on TalkSport today, and he is an idiot. And he says, he hasn't. He's having a go. He's going at Ten Hag. He hasn't developed Sancho. Well, surely isn't that Sancho's job to develop yourself? It's not up to you to get up in the morning and work hard and develop.
I get what he's saying. Like a coach should, because you are some players you could look at and be like, oh, since they came here and we're playing under Ten Hag, they've improved. You can say that, but yes, I get what you're saying as well.
The player's got to do it. But so Rashford's regressed this year for the player that he was last year. He's totally regressed, and apparently, they're talking on the TV tonight that you've got.
Had too much.
Yeah, you've got Rashford and Højlund talking. What are they talking about? They're talking about Call of Duty or something. It's the same thing I'm talking about positional play, because I haven't seen any kind of element of partnership between Højlund and Rashford. So Rashford,
he was saying they're working on it. Like it's still a new relationship, still in its infancy, isn't it? And it will take some time. But I think the big problem at the moment, from what I can see, absolutely. I think Højlund, I'm still impressed with him every game. I think he's great. I think he's a threat. He probably should have scored a couple tonight, really. Unfortunate, but yeah, you're right. Rashford, he needs to sort his game out, and I think the relationship could be good. Go on, Hammer.
Just I was going to say real quick, I do get what Stu's saying because some of it, yes, is building a relationship, but some of it is also just footballing, decision making, intelligence, right? Like, and I'm gonna do what Stu used to do and tell a story about myself when I used to play. And I was playing I was playing a little bit, and I remember it was my first time playing in a while, and one of my friends I hadn't played with in years, but I knew he was a ridiculous striker, and I did what Rashford should be doing, and that is like I've taken stuff off the. Yeah, Stu, it's all right. Oh, no.
I'm a teddy bear.
Turn on people. Turn on the players. No, but like I sprinted to keep the ball in play, beat 2 people, and I don't have a left foot, so I was on the left side and I played a ball across my right foot into the box. I didn't even look up because I knew his ass was going to be in there. And guess what? Yeah. Before I can even look up, just look into the box, all I heard was the rest of my team go, oh, because he scored. Because he's going to be there. He's a striker. He's going to be in the box. Put something in the box.
Yeah. So I do have a quick thing about Højlund as well.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to start. I need to come to a couple of comments in the post-match quickly. All right. And when we come to the ratings, which we're going to do shortly, and we're going to make them relatively quick, I will give you Højlund, and you can tell me everything you want about it there. Is that all right? Good.
Yeah.
Johnny Evans, he said, you want to be successful and win games, but you've got to earn clean sheets. And I was pleased tonight. I wasn't able to finish the match, but it was good to see. Oh, Christ, I can't tonight. But it was just as good seeing Andre Onana catch that one at the end and relief at the final whistle. Ten Hag goes on about Reguilon. Reguilon was ill before the game, but he wanted to play. It says something about his character and spirit. Might be a little bit of a back elbow to everyone else. He wanted to play, contribute. Last year we had the most clean sheets in the Premier League. We were disciplined and followed the rules. When we do that, it's difficult to play against Manchester United. Oh Christ, it's all moved along now. A brilliant goal, lovely play. In games like Munich and Arsenal, we played well in spells, but gave away easy goals. You were saying, so does Stu, obviously, we all know that. We have seen so many things against us the last couple of weeks. We've all said that as well. Right, let's move on then. Everyone get involved in the comments as well. Good to see you with us, John. I hope you're very well, mate. And just coming home from the pub. I'm jealous. I want to go out to the pub after this, I think. Anyway, I'll come to, obviously, Onana, and I'll give that to you, Freddie Fernandez.
I was looking around then. I was like, who's that?
Who's he?
That's what your name says there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, just.
Did you not notice he changed it?
No,
Done him.
How long's that been there? I didn't even know.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Very good. I'll give him a 6.5. I thought, I think it was a big improvement. Made one very good save from a header, tipped it around the post. A lot more calm and reassured. Didn't have much to do, to be honest. I think Burnley's attack was pretty poor. I think there's a bit of like he sees a lot of the ball, but he just doesn't do much with it. Whether there's no one ahead of him making runs in attack, I don't know. But I think we can use him as a weapon a bit more, and we should be using him more with his long pass.
Well, we've seen that previously.
Exactly.
In previous games, but it's probably caught us off guard a little bit. Today was a lot more calm, probably didn't utilise it so much, and we're a lot more comfortable. We need to find that medium.
I just don't think there's enough runs up top. We can't see it. But 6.5, a lot more assured on the goalkeeping side.
Yeah, 48 touches, 7 long balls completed, 4 saves, 3 saves from shots inside the box, and 1 high claim, and obviously some vital ones too. I don't know if you remember the first half, quite early on. Good save. Good save. Best I've got for you, but you know what I mean. Slightly to his right, tipped around the post. Right, Diogo Dalot, hammer.
I mean, I don't know. A 6? I don't know if I'm being nice. The thing is, here's my thing. Like, all right, I watched the whole game, but when it comes to ratings and everything, if you don't do enough shit in the game, sorry. I think Stu took up our curse quota at the beginning of the show. But
he did, yeah. It's Stu's fault. Blame it on Stu.
No, I'm just all good, Stu. No, you know what I'm saying? But like, if I don't hear your name, I'm gonna more so have a feeling that you didn't do anything in the game, and that's kind of how I feel about Dalot. Did he get a yellow card at some point in the game?
He did,
as well?
30 minutes
very
in.
early.
Yeah. So I'll stick with that 6. That's
I think he was quite lucky. They put their best winger on the other side after he got the yellow. Otherwise,
I saw that.
The commentators on my stream were talking about it to tell switch him back. He's
I was ready to cancel the review, to be honest, at that point. Diogo Dalot game by numbers: 87% pass accuracy, 50 touches, 31 passes completed, 4 ball recoveries, 3 out of 4 tackles won, 3 ground duels win. 2 out of 3 long balls completed, 2 out of 3 crosses, and 2 key passes. I need to get a bit quicker at that. Stu,
Højlund should have scored just to finish on him. He did a very good cross for Højlund. So he could have got assist on another day.
He did. We need to see more of those.
It was literally too perfect. It was too flat and it was too fast. It was too
I don't think anyone expected it, did they?
Yeah. No.
Well, no, Højlund didn't. I can tell you that. Yeah. Nothing. Completely not set at all.
That's half the problem.
He said, "Oh, a cross came in. Oh my god."
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to see more of those. Great cross that was. Yeah, you're right. We do see those from Dalot from time to time, and Saka more recently. But we need to see those more, particularly now we've got that focal point in the middle. Right, moving on to Lindelof then. Over to you, Stewie.
Steady 6 for me. I don't think he did anything wrong, but I don't think he did anything great today. So steady 6.
Reguilon, Freddie Fernandez.
Good.
Same as Dalot. I think, he's been attacking more in recent games, but he didn't have much. Shame he went off injured, so I'll give him a steady 6.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out what happens with that. Otherwise, we're going to really struggle. Maybe Lindelof left back. Johnny Evans could play left back. Christ,
I don't want to.
He can.
Let's not
He
think about
can.
that.
He can.
Right, Casemiro, Hammer.
What are we giving Johnny Evans?
What we're giving Johnny Evans? You can do Johnny Evans.
Who had
Oh,
Oh, have I missed him? Christ.
Yeah, you can do
sorry.
Johnny Evans.
Yeah, go on then. You want me to do Johnny Evans?
Yeah, you do Johnny.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've already spoken about him, but this is me interviewing you guys. So you're not interviewing me, yeah? Hammer, Johnny Evans.
Yeah. I'll give him.
I'm only kidding.
7.5.
I know.
I give him a 7.5 because if there was a different flip of the coin for the VAR, he would have had a goal, and he got a beautiful assist for that Bruno. I don't even know what worldy golazo, as I called it on Twitter. So yeah, I'll give him a 7.
I just want to apologise there. That I was only playing with you. Johnny Evans game by numbers. Sorry, Stu. 91% pass accuracy, 81 touches, 66 passes completed, 8 clearances, 2 out of 2 ground duels, 1. I always stumble over that. 2 out of 2 area duels, 1 assist and 1 key pass. I think
Just
really, really solid
Just like
performance.
to say, Mark, that 88% of that 91% pass accuracy was 3-yard passes. A bit difficult to get those wrong. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm being facetious. I'm sorry.
I thought you were. Just remove him out of the show. There you go.
Casemiro, I know you're asking me. 7.
Yeah, go on.
I was just
no, now we really lost him. Look what you did there.
I thought he was good today. He looked good. I wasn't convinced of the gloves. I'd have to have words with him.
He's always talking about fashion, isn't he?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, mate. When we go out for this meal, which has been postponed, by the way, I'm going to be rating Stu and what he wears for sure.
It was 2 weeks ago, like 3 months ago.
I know. Well, poor Stu's
You
missus,
keep cancelling.
without going. Stu,
without going into it, she's a respiratory specialist, my young lady, and we find it very difficult to get times and dates when we can be free because she'll have to work weekends occasionally because she works the county. So she works the whole of Shropshire. She doesn't just work in a hospital. So she can go as far as Gabowen and things of that nature. So, well, I'm not, just Mark knows I'm not. It's very difficult.
I've heard that one before. It's all right.
I find it quite difficult.
Respiratory specialist is a new one, but don't worry, mate. Mark's used to it.
No, we find
the poor man.
It's difficult when we get
on a serious note, I have no idea.
Sometimes we have to say no.
It's
not because we're idiots.
So. No, we aren't idiots. We can organise a piss up in a brewery, and I don't know why we've gone into this so much, but Stuart's talking sense. But I will be seeing him in a week, so we keep telling you about this. We still ain't got the photos. I still haven't been able to tell you what he's wearing. So there you go. No. Anyway, let's move on to the next man in midfield, Hannibal Medjbury, and I will give that to you. Who wants that?
I'll take that.
I've 6. Good energy. Didn't do much with the ball. He was just rewarded after his goal last week. But I think we had to go. I think it was good to get that energy. Ten Hag's obviously going back to basics. So decent performance, solid 6.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And if Ericsson is struggling, I think I would throw him in. I think he's gonna. I think what Stu was alluding to earlier. He's 20 years old.
He'll grow into it.
Makes inexperienced decisions. That's what he was doing. We can expect that. We can give that a little bit of expectation. But player, I'd bring him in definitely.
Yeah, just to square quickly. The other thing is he played in just behind the striker today. Obviously, Bruno's been forcefully pushed out wide. So it's not going to happen often when we eventually get a winger back.
We don't need to see that picture of that.
I'll get a picture. Right, over to you, Hammer on McSauce.
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh, yeah.
On who? Sorry, my connection made you skip.
McTominay.
Oh, you said McSauce. See, that's why I didn't come too clear. Yeah.
I'm just being funny now. Anyway, go on.
I think a lot of a 2. That's just mean. A 2 is like
That's
like,
Reese, by the way.
Yeah. A 2 is like an own goal and getting sent off. Damn, Reese. He's like, no, I'm gonna give him. I want to give him a 6 as well, but a part of me also wants to give him a 5. But either way, I think that is self-explanatory in terms of like.
What about 5.5? Does that help?
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's what I mean. Like it's just
Mark.
I tell you, I've torn into all of you tonight. I tell you, tread carefully, you lot.
Okay, I'll make my explanation like this. He hit his ceiling under Ole, and he's not reaching anything else. If that makes sense.
I think something's happened in the summer to piss him off, and he's really, I don't know, he's got to be in his bonnet about something because he's not
didn't get a move. I think.
No, the thing he used to do was run around and do the energy. He's not doing that now, and he's not the most technically gifted. So you take that bit away, then you haven't got much.
What did he get rated in that game?
He got a -1 for that Woodgate. That was tremendous.
What a game! What a game that was.
He had a decent spell at Real Madrid after that as well.
Yeah, he did. I think he was remembered after that, though, wasn't he? Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Anyway, we move over to Bruno. Then I'll give it to his twin.
Yes,
Or
Freddie.
Stu. All right. 7.5. 7.5. You got to do. I mean, that goal was brilliant. Like, just brilliant. I love it. They're like my favourite goals, actually. So, yeah, brilliant pass. Timed his one well. And he's probably the only player in the team that could do that. In all honesty, so
I caught on Wednesday.
Here we go. What was that?
I popped one on Wednesday very similar.
What, a knee?
Okay. What, from the back?
I was going to say a hand.
What are you doing?
No, what happened? Well, no, we played.
Popped your hip.
No, what happened, Freddie? It rolled down my shin and crawled.
You do walking football as well. It'd have been fucking. You'd have had to start last week.
Do you know what was it? I was invited to a walking football tournament 2 weeks ago in Alicante, and I've never played walking football in my life, so I wouldn't know.
Alicante.
I've actually watched it. It's really good. It's actually quite good fun. Yeah.
It's supposed to be quite hard, so I've never played it, but my strike was of the highest quality.
I don't think I can play walking.
I think the hardest bit for me, is when I wanted to run and I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? But that would be the hardest thing for me, I think.
I don't know.
Perfect for you. But anyway,
I'd like to see that video if you've got it, Stu. Have you got a video? Do you video record it? Yeah. In fact, we saw a lovely clip of you last week. I don't know if Marc showed it.
No, he showed it. Yes, he has showed it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new season. Absolutely looking forward to it.
How's that?
So good. I thought you had that ready so fast.
Yeah.
I've got it in the background ready for anyone that wants to see it.
It is in the background, yeah. If I'd realised that, I'd have been on and got rid of it.
Oh God, it tickles me so much, that does. Anyway, right, let's move on to... Did we say Bruno? We did? Yeah, let's move on to Rashford. I did want to talk about him and have a little bit of a segment earlier, but a little bit of frustrations, I think, prior to coming onto the show. But Hammer, if you want to give me your thoughts and rating for him, please, buddy.
I'll give him a 6 like a lot of the guys are giving for the rest of the team. Stu might give him something worse by that reaction.
No.
Sorry. The video, the tie. Yeah, it's a rough tie.
I was young. Okay, I was young.
Rashford, I'm not gonna give him a 4 because for me, 5 and below means you did something drastically terrible in the game.
Scored an own goal and got a red card.
Just the own goal, no red card.
I'm gonna give him the 6. But what I will say about Rashford, since we weren't able to have the little topic before, I'll just say something real quick in that he is becoming the epitome of a star player who needs to be taught. Yes, well, his decision making's pissed me off for a while because he made his debut at 18. He's in his mid-20s now. That shit should have been. I don't care. Right? Even if when he was like 23, I said it should have been better because he made his debut at 18. But he is the epitome of a top player that needs to be dropped for his ego and for discipline to send a message to him, right? He's still going to be one of our better players. He's probably going to be here for years to come still, unless something crazy happens. But I saw somebody comment earlier, starting Garnacho will send a message to him. And that's what he needs. He needs to get a message sent to him, and dropping him to the bench, I think, is that message. For all the crazy fans out there, yes, even if it means we lose a game.
Can I just ask, when did he sign his contract, his new contract?
Summer.
Yeah, it was
this summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was this summer.
It's only downhill from there, and there's so many examples of this. These 300k a week contracts, not performance based, but base salary, and then they just go.
Well, it happened last time we signed a contract as well. We had a dip in form. Martial,
Sancho.
Well, Sancho's has been the same since he's joined, but yes, I don't know when he signed it. To be honest,
look, it's concerning Rashford. He's meant to be our senior player now. There needs to be consistency.
18th of July.
Yeah.
18th of July. So there you go.
There's proves my point.
And I'm sorry, like I know the money affects them, right? And I'm sure freaking 300k a week would do something to me too. But you came from the academy, man. Like you should be the last person that we should be worrying about walking on the pitch. That's what, like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you came, you know what this club means since you was, how old was he? Freaking 7, right? Or something. You know what I mean? Like you was a kid. And you made it all the way up, and you're the main guy in attack for Manchester United at this point. Same thing as last year. You should be the last person we have to worry about running on the pitch.
I do agree. Yeah, it is worrying, and I think you're right. I think everyone's sort of the points on that are right.
I guess
I think he probably needs dropping. I think his contract's a problem. I think he's probably relied on too much. I think Helly's probably right. Maybe there's something that's frustrating him at the moment. Sorry, go on, Freddie.
No, just gonna say one of the positives might be that I think he started slowly last year, and then after the World Cup he put his foot on the gas. So hopefully, you never know, that could happen as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously we're all behind him, absolutely. But I think that's we care for him, and I think it's just frustrating to see these mistakes. It's frustrating not to see the goals. It's frustrating to, do you know what I mean? It's easy for us to say, oh, he's not playing so well since the thing. It might be coincidental, probably, but because we're seeing what we're seeing, it's very difficult.
Well, just to make the point, Stu gave Hannibal his pass, right? Gave Hannibal a leash because he's 20 and he's young and he's inexperienced, and your decision making is going to be tough. We shouldn't be saying that about you, Rashford. You're, what is he, 26 now? 26, or like, that's not, we're saying that about a 20-year-old. We shouldn't be saying that about you as well.
The interesting thing about Rashford is it's like he's still learning to write. When he's on that pitch, he's still learning his trade, and you shouldn't be learning your trade just like you shouldn't be learning to write when you're 26 years old. You should be constantly ready and thinking about it. Look, I play at the weekend with a group of experienced footballers, but our decision making isn't the best all the time. But we know and we understand, because you know to yourself, what the hell am I doing? So next time you're in that position, you do the right decision. So you learn, immediately. And Rashford's not learning for whatever reason. So I don't get it. No. And that brings me on to Rasmus. Now, and I'm going to cut him a bit of slack as well.
Thanks, that's Stu. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to cut him a bit of slack because he's only 20. But for me today, if you're going to lead the line at any club, not just Manchester United, you've got to really show yourself. And he didn't show himself enough. Now, I know why he didn't show himself, because he's not expecting the ball to come over. But any good striker gambles. You've got to keep gambling, and he doesn't gamble enough for me. Now, he's only 20, and he will learn that craft of being able to gamble within the 6-yard area. And I think the Dalot cross was a great example. Look, I don't think anyone in the stadium or watching at home on TV, even the commentators were amazed that Dalot dug that out. But Højlund wasn't even positioned. He wasn't positioned in the box to take it if he was expecting that cross, if that makes sense. Yeah. You've got to be in a position. His body shape was all wrong.
And I will say,
make an attempt to get the ball.
He
for number 9.
You're right about that, but he still got into the spot. I know he didn't connect because he just wasn't ready, and he probably didn't have his feet set. But he is that type. Like he's gonna score goals. Okay, and I'm sure you guys remember this one because it was a rare Rashford cross and assist from the right side when Cavani was here, and he played a cross in, dropped it in between the center backs, and Cavani just dove at it head first and scored the goal. We're gonna see that goals like that from Hoyland.
You will do eventually, but
Yeah.
Cavani had honed that craft, and it took him a long time.
Yeah.
Let me explain something about Cavani, Hammer, and you'll get this, and I know you will because you're a centre half, so you'll understand it. When that ball's whipped in, okay, whether or not you make contact or not is an irrelevance. Now, before you'll jump on me, it's the actual motion of trying to make contact to the football. So what I mean is, you're not going to make contact if you don't have a go. If you don't, and Cavani, and I've seen him do it a couple of times. The ball's been whipped in, and he's dove for it, and he's missed it by miles, but he's gone and he's had a go because next time he'll get his timing right. And this is what it's all about. You've got to gamble, and you've got to commit. Yeah. And he didn't commit for that to me. Now, like I said, and I admit it, I didn't think Dallo would put a cross of that quality, and I didn't. I admit that. But you've still got to gamble. You've still got to be on that back post gambling. And he's got to get that. So also as a centre forward, and this is something that I will take umbrage about potentially with the Rashford Hoyland combination at the moment. He's got to be on Rashford's back. He's got to be on Garnacho's back, whoever's playing on the right. Get that ball in. I want that ball whipped in, on the corner of the 18-yard box, and I will be there. You will find me because I will be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take the centre half out. I'm going to take the goalkeeper out, and that's what it's all about. So that's my only drawback with Hoyland, Marc. I think he's a great player.
What did you give him?
2. No. No. I thought he was a 6 today. I just couldn't give him that 7. I think if we made an attempt, 1 or 2 more across goal, I think I would have given him a 7. But he's getting there, mate. And I know people will think I'm being a bit critical, and I don't need to be. But you're at the elite level of football. You've got to learn quickly.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with that. On one hand, we can't say we're missing a number 9, but we can see it in Cavani because he's always ready, like you were saying. We got to sing, the same. You've got to say the same stuff for Hoyland, and he's young still. He's going to pick up on these things. Ultimately, you want to see more crosses like that, and he needs to make sure he gets on the end.
Exactly right. Yeah, he's got to be there, hasn't he, Marc? I mean, if you're crossing that ball, if you're Dallo, and it's gone all the way across for a throw, and you're going, what on earth are you doing? Yeah. I need so anyway. It's
yeah. Right, sorry. We're done. We've actually gone over, and it's quite an enjoyable show considering. She's taking a mick out of you like I did. It's fine. We're all friends here. Yeah. Anyway, we've gone over. Really appreciate it, boys. Thank you so much for joining. Great comments tonight, guys, as well. Really good conversations. Really enjoyed it. Come back next time. Tell your friends and all that jazz. We've obviously got the Carling Cup. Fucking hell. That's like 20 years ago now, isn't it? Carabao Cup on Tuesday. Yours truly will be back here again. I'm sure 1 or 2 of these maybe as well. And of course, we'll probably have some previews too. But until then, we will see you trying to find the outro. See ya.